Hi, today we're going to go for an advanced skill, a little bit of an advanced skill. I'm going to teach you how to make your own cloth buttons. Cloth buttons were normal back in the olden times when people hadn't figured out how to use bone yet or shell. So when you need to make like 30 or 40 buttons for your outfit, this is how you would do it without spending any money, just some time. So let's go.
This is one of the buttons I've already made. As you can see, there's embroidery on the top of it. It's because I've chosen a fabric that was already embroidered. That's a 2-inch circle, and I've turned it into a button. So, let's go. I have a double strand of button twist that I'm going to use, and we're going to turn this into a button. The first thing you do is turn it under about 1/4 inch. Now, not every fabric is going to turn under and finger press like a linen would. This is silk, so it's not staying in place. So we're just going to use the needle and thread to hold it into place as we press along. I'm going to take big stitches because more or less these are gathering stitches that we have to do for this project. So you're going to press and you're going to stick your needle through. And then I'm going to straighten it out so you can see the edges. Notice that I'm taking the stitches very close to the edge of this 1/4 inch that I'm turning under. This is so that when we pull it together eventually, it's going to form a little disc. So keep turning under. Keep taking your stitches, making sure that your thread is pulled all the way through and not leaving loops of thread behind. It will take you a couple of tries to get this technique correct, so don't be discouraged. Just keep trying to do a couple buttons here and there. So we're almost all the way to the end. I'm going to take one last stitch. There it is. And then I'm going to start to gather this button to turn in the first layer. This is going to take a little bit of fussing to make this button turn into a disc. So you can see that I'm pressing the fabric into place, and there you go. I have my little disc. See it? Yep, there we go. Outside, inside. So now the next step, we're going to do another row of large stitches along the outer edge. This is going to be a smaller disc, of course, because we've already turned in one edge. And you're going to go along the outer edge again. You don't want to go in too deeply because that won't work. Eventually, we're going to turn this in the way that we turned the first set of stitches in to make that fabric turn in upon itself. So there we go. There's the last stitch. And now we're going to pull this taut into a button shape. And you're going to see me pulling pulling, pulling very tight. This is why you have to use sturdy thread, because if you don't use sturdy thread, your thread will snap. So now that that button is pulled together, now we're going to have some stitches on the back side to keep it in place. And you're just going to sort of make X patterns along the back. And you're going to keep pulling it tight to keep it together. Keep sticking your needle through the areas of the button that seem to be not in line with your hem. And you just have to keep pulling it as tight as you can. And having sturdy thread is very important for this project. So I'm going to do a couple more stitches here to make sure that everything's anchored correctly. Going to check to see what the button looks like on the outside. And then we're going to make a couple double knots to secure the thread in place and to make sure that button doesn't go anywhere. We'll make one more set of knots. And there you go. There's your button. You're going to make sure to leave that thread as long as you can, because later when you attach it to your garment, you're going to use that thread to attach the button. And there's a previous button that I made, and it's about the same size.
So now that you've learned to make your own cloth buttons, you're really empowered to make a lot of fancy things or plain things, as many or as little as you want, and you are not dependent upon what you can find in a store. See you next time.